Hey everyone, I'm Luke, a game designer from New Zealand, and today I'll be showing you how to play Fall of the Republic, a two-player competitive dice placement game that plays in about 15 minutes. In Fall of the Republic, you play as rival consuls, Roman leaders looking to seize the opportunity to take control and become the first emperor of Rome. To do so, you'll need to carefully manage three distinct areas of influence, each with their own way to win the game. In the center, we have the reputation track, which measures your popularity with the Roman people. Various actions can cause you to gain or lose reputation, which moves your marker up or down the track. If you would ever land on or pass your opponent's space, you leapfrog over them, moving an extra space. If you reach the top of the track, you win the game, and if you reach the bottom of the track, you lose. On the left is the battle map. This shows each player's armies vying for control of the territories surrounding Rome. You gain money at the end of each round for each region you control, and if at any point you control 5 of the 6 regions, you immediately win the game. There's one special region on the map, Rome. It's adjacent to every region, so it's very powerful to control, but it costs you 2 reputation if you move armies into it. Finally, there's the invasion track, which shows the barbarian army advancing towards Rome. If they ever reach the final space on the track, the player with the most money wins the game. To track money, each player has a money card, and as you gain and spend money, rotate it so that your current value is shown at the top. So, how do you affect these areas of influence? Each round, players roll 3 dice, and starting with the lowest reputation player, they take turns placing them in various action spaces, triggering the relevant effects. For example, I might place my 5 on the conscript action, losing 1 reputation, but letting me recruit 5 armies from my reserve onto the battle map. You'll see the N icon on many of these abilities. This shows that the strength of the action depends on the value of the die placed. Similarly, N over 2 refers to half of the die's value rounded up. My opponent might also want to take the conscript action, but it's currently occupied by my die. This leads us to the central mechanic of the game, dice kicking. If you have a lower value die, you can use it to kick the die that's already in a space, letting you take the action. The kick die is given to your opponent, regardless of who initially placed it, giving them more turns, so make sure you use this wisely. Whenever placing dice, you may also pay money to adjust the die's value at $1 per pip adjusted. This can be useful to make actions stronger, or lower the value enough to kick a die, as we just went through. With that, let's quickly run through each action. The Praetor's actions focus on the battle map. We just saw the conscript action that lets you recruit armies from your reserve into regions that you control, costing 1 reputation. The Praetor also has the march action, which lets you move your armies between the regions. When you march, you either push armies, moving them from the same region into any adjacent regions, or you can pull them, choose a region, and move armies from adjacent regions into the chosen one. In each case, the number of armies you may move is based on the strength of the action, so if I place a 2, I can only move 2 armies total. If you move your armies into a region with your opponent's armies, they battle and destroy each other at a 1-to-1 rate, returning to each player's reserves. Next, let's look at the Senator, who is all about reputation. This card has a special debate track, with a marker that starts in the middle. Players can place dice in 2 spaces that point left and right respectively, and at the end of the round, the marker is moved based on half of the difference of the dice in those spaces. So, if there's a 3 here, and no die in the other space, the marker moves 2 spaces to the left. Regardless of if the marker moves or not, the effects of its current space are then resolved. This gives one player reputation based on how far the marker is along the track. 1 here, or 2 if it's here. If the marker is moved off the end of the track though, that player instead loses 3 reputation and the marker resets to the center. There are no restrictions about which spaces you can put your dice in, so look out for opportunities to push the debate marker over the edge for your opponent, or kick the die in their space to take control yourself. Careful control of the debate is a vital skill for managing your reputation. Now on to the proconsul, who manages the forces holding back the barbarian invasion at the frontiers of the Republic. The first proconsul action is Reinforce, which allows you to spend money to slow down the barbarian invasion and gain reputation. At the end of the round, the barbarian meeple will advance based on the value of the die in this space, or 7 spaces if there is no die there. Alternatively, the other proconsul action is to requisition, stealing forces away from the frontier for your own armies. Pay $2, advance the barbarian marker, and gain armies on the battle map based on the value of the die placed. Finally, we have the Pontiff, a religious leader of Rome who offers 2 actions. You may donate $2 to take the spare die and reroll your dice. The die you placed then becomes the new spare die. This is useful if you don't have the dice values you need for your plan, or if you want to stall and react to your opponent's actions, since you're effectively passing your turn. The Pontiff's other action is Denounce, which costs a lot of money, but lets you ruin your opponent's reputation. The amount you pay is based on the die's value, as is the reputation they lose. The last action each player has available is on their money card. Players may place a die on the investment space to gain money at the end of the round. It's a pretty safe play, and will give you more to work with next round, but you'll lose tempo in the main areas of influence. Once each player has placed all of their dice, that's the end of the round. Go through and trigger any end of round effects in order of card number. Then each player takes back 3 dice, rerolls them, and starts a new round of dice placement. Keep playing until one of the 3 victory conditions is met. One player controls 5 out of the 6 regions on the battle map, a player reaches the top or bottom of the reputation track, or the barbarian invasion reaches Rome, in which case the player with the most money wins. With that, you have enough to play Fall of the Republic. Good luck, and have a great time.